All right, folks. Just a few moments ago, Donald Trump finished a speech in Kentucky, specifically talking about maybe the second hottest button issue right now, considering all of the nonsense wars that he's started in the last few weeks. That being the state of the US economy. Now, it's been in a pretty bad way for a little while now, but we saw a bit of a resurgence over the last month. Like it seemed like, okay, maybe things are gonna stabilize a little bit. Maybe we hit the trough and now things are kind of at a manageable baseline. Prices had seemingly stabilized a little bit, particularly on things like chicken and eggs. They'd gotten a little bit more affordable. Gas wasn't necessarily through the roof if you were willing to like shop around station to station. You could find some relatively affordable gas. Things seemed like they were starting to stabilize. In my state, surprised I did not see it. I will say that during this like process, I was going from Washington down to Southern California, so I was experiencing like the switch up going state to state. But across all three states, it seemed like things were a little bit more affordable, especially when I got into Oregon. Let me tell you, like buying a Monster was like $4.50 per Monster in Seattle. In little towns in Oregon, it was like $2.50 per Monster. The price difference was insane. It felt like criminal not to buy like a case of Monster every little town I stopped in Oregon, because the prices just kept getting lower. But all that aside, prices have continued to go on the downturn. Or not on the downturn, I should say the upturn, as in they've gotten more expensive. We had what seemed like a little bit of a breath of fresh air, and now, in this last week, prices, affordability, it's gotten way worse. Like, grocery shopping last week compared to this week, noticeable difference. Like, noticeable, to the point where I was like, yep, people are going to be talking about this. This is going to show in some economic data. I better write this down as a topic to cover. And sure enough, I go to talk about this, and I see that 11 minutes ago, Donald Trump just finished giving what I have no doubt is a damage control speech over the state of the U.S. economy. For those that don't know, the Dow plummeted, the S&P plummeted, the market red across the board outside of a few examples of green outliers, and every ETF, every popular ETF that most people invest in for a safe long-term investment, red. Everything's red right now. Look at the stock market. Everything's red. Economic indicators, such as affordability, absolutely atrocious right now. No matter how many lies Trump wants to spew here, keep in mind that things are getting unbelievably unaffordable for people. Everyone is noticing. And these Trump rallies are looking less populated by the day, aren't they? You remember how big and packed these Trump rallies used to be, right? This looks like a meager turnout compared to 4 years ago. Even a year ago, if I'm being honest. Obama's tan suit did this? True. I'm glad we're holding the right people responsible. Anyway, let's go ahead and watch this new Trump speech. This happened only moments ago. It's an hour and a half long, so we're not going to watch the whole thing, but we'll watch a bit of it. Bigger paychecks, lower prices. Yeah, we'd love to see that. When's the guy who's been president for almost 2 years now going to make that happen?
Well, thank you very much. Thank you. And a very special hello, Kentucky. I love Kentucky.
I love Kentucky.
We won in a landslide. We won by so much. We have the all-time record in these things. But it's great to be back in this beautiful Commonwealth with so many proud, hardworking, unbelievable American patriots. Thank you.
I've got this sped up to 1.5x speed, by the way.
And we're here today with the men and women of a phenomenal company that has been helping Kentucky grow.
You know what's crazy? Donald Trump, when you speed him up to 1.5x, sounds like 2016 Trump. So since 2016, Donald Trump, his speaking speed has reduced by 50%. He is literally talking 50% slower than he was in 2016. Unironically, this is how Trump talked in 2016. This doesn't sound sped up to any of us, I don't think, because this just sounds like how Donald Trump sounded when he was younger.
And prosper for 6 incredible decades. In other words, they've been here for a long time. Versed logistics. Good company. Just met a lot of the people that run it. They're good people. They love you. They love you, actually. If they didn't, I wouldn't be here, probably. I don't think I'd be here. If they didn't love you, I'd walk off this.
I know, my left earbud is loving this as well. I don't know why we're getting mono audio on this, but it would have been nice if they converted the audio stream to mono so that it wouldn't play through only one headphone cup. There were many ways they could have solved this problem that they didn't do, but well, you know, what can we expect from Fox?
Stage right now. With your help, this family-owned business has risen from a small trucking operation into a juggernaut of warehousing, packaging, one of the biggest, transportation, all these big labels they put on. But I'll tell you, America's favorite brands right here, and this has been an unbelievable group of people that built this wonderful company, and I want to thank them very much. It's an honor. And like the people of Kentucky, you do it with skill and precision and pride, using equipment stamped with those beautiful words, made in the USA. Do you remember? Made in the USA. We're putting it all over the place. And we're making more and more things in the USA, more than we ever had. More people are working today in the USA than at any time in the history of our country.
That's not true. I'm pretty certain that's not true. What's also not true is the idea that we're going to bring manufacturing jobs back to America anytime soon. Keep in mind, let's say Donald Trump passed all this policy that he's done over the course of the last 2 years on day one of his administration. Let's assume he did that. He didn't, but let's assume he did that. Let's assume we cut off all foreign manufacturing and began the process of making all manufacturing for Americans in America. That would take 6 years minimum. Because you can't just start making things here. You need factories, you need workers, you need all the resource lines and everything. You need the acquisition of raw materials, which is its own entire market that oftentimes requires global trade, which Trump wants to cut off from. So the fact is, supply chains, yeah. In order to begin making things in America, we have to build the factory lines, we have to build the assembly lines, we have to make the places where these Americans would be working. That, most experts say, that would take 6 years or more. At least in the case of like making Nintendo Switches in America, that would take 6 years or more to build this, like, the infrastructure in order to start doing that. It's doable, but it's not coming anytime soon. The idea that Donald Trump's policies have already brought jobs back to America is hilarious. I will tell you, though, Donald Trump could have employed surgical tariffs in certain areas and perhaps maintained America's lead in certain manufacturing sectors. Biden tried to do this with the CHIPS Act. He was trying to put America ahead in microprocessor manufacturing, and he tariffed foreign microprocessors and made them more expensive so Americans would be encouraged to buy American, bolstering our lead in this industry. Would have put us ahead of China, too, if it weren't for that meddling Trump.
And by the way, do we have a great military?
Really? You're going to bring that up right now?
Better than any military in the world by far. I didn't know that we're going to have to be showing it off so much, to be honest with you. I built it. In my first term, we built this military, and I didn't know that we'd have to use it quite as much as we're using it, but we're using it well, and there's no better military. There's nobody even close, so we're very proud of it. So we have, in this company, 2,600 employees, and they pour out their sweat and their soul.
Can't hear Trump, just static. I'll turn it up all the way, but man, the audio quality for this speech is terrible.
Into shipping the products America knows and loves, and they're doing more business than they've ever done before. And thanks to the record-setting tax cuts that we passed in the Great Big Beautiful Bill, biggest tax cuts in the history of our country. Biggest
corporate tax cut in the history of our country. He left out a certain word there. That's funny.
Tax cuts. You know, as I grew up, I'd watch politicians, and I'd always say that we're going to cut your taxes, cut your taxes. This is the first group of opponents. It's the first group of Democrats. They're always saying we're going to raise your taxes. Historically, a politician has to. Ideally, you're going to follow through. But you have to say we're cutting taxes. They say we're going to raise that. They were going to give you, if they won, Kamala and Joe, Sleepy Joe. But
you know things are going well for him if he has to still bring up Kamala and Sleepy Joe 2 years into his presidency.
They were going to raise your taxes more than any. It was the biggest tax increase in the history of
But
America.
Hillary.
And I kept saying, are they really
Bring up Hillary. Come on, do it. Come on. Blame it all on Hillary. Do it. I know you can do it.
saying this? I don't know. What do I know about politics? I haven't been doing it that long. But they were going to give you the biggest tax cut. And now, again, the midterms are coming. They want to raise your taxes higher than you've ever had before. We have to win. The midterms are going to be very, very important to keep it going.
Yep, blue wave's coming. Y'all enjoy the last 2 years. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you enjoyed it, because that Republican majority is about to go bye-bye. Bye-bye. You know, if you had actually done anything to make the economy better and kept America out of foreign war, you could have locked in a guaranteed red wave in these primaries, but, or not in these primaries, in these midterms. But, I mean, you were a dictator on day one, just like you promised, and that means you lose midterms. And it means you probably lose re-election when you inevitably try to go for your third term if you're not dead from congenital heart failure from all the McDonald's you eat and sitting on your fat fucking orange ass. Sorry, I got a little too real.
But thanks to the tax cuts, which are record-setting, we passed the great, big, beautiful bill, and I'm pleased to report that Verse Logistics is investing more than $10 million into expanding its operations this year, right here, $10 million. And you're buying brand new tractor trailers and opening up warehouses in 2 additional states, Texas and North Carolina. And that's what it's all about. And that's why we did it. And with the help of our tax cuts, all of those trucks and warehouses and equipment purchases, everything that we're doing, and everything that you see in this country that's being built, you get what's called expensing, meaning a deduction in the first year. 1 year, it's the bit. Now, to a lot of people, that doesn't mean. To me, it means something else. It means jobs. That's why we have so many jobs. The best jobs ever.
True. If you cut taxes for corporations, that just means they'll hire more people. Just means more jobs for Americans. That will totally work, bro. Absolutely. The reason you did all those corporate tax cuts was so they could afford to give Americans jobs. It's so noble. He didn't do it because of all of his buddies that financed his campaign, specifically wanting him to pass these tax cuts, extending them beyond what he had done in his first term. He had done what was previously the biggest corporate tax cut in American history in his first term. It was going to expire if he wasn't reelected and didn't extend it. And so every major corporate figure in America backed Donald Trump because they all wanted a piece of that massive tax cut he was going to be extending if he got reelected. That's why you had every billionaire throwing Kamala to the wayside and backing Trump out of nowhere. It seems so bizarre. You had Bezos, Zuckerberg, CEO of YouTube and Google and Alphabet, all backing Trump, right? They were all refusing to publish anything negative about Trump, like deboosting anything pro-Kamala in their algorithms. Twitter was obvious, but the reason for that, all these extremely rich people have been benefiting for like 8 years now, over 8 years, they've been benefiting from one of the biggest corporate tax cut policies ever. And that was going to expire if Trump didn't win. They all worked together. They all put their billions of dollars together to get Trump back in office, because if they didn't, they were going to have to pay their fair share, at least a part of their fair share.
Most importantly, to the workers here today, I'm pleased to report that the great, big, beautiful bill also delivers no tax on overtime.
This is the kind of shit that gets the seals clapping. The crumbs that get these seals clapping. No tax on overtime and no tax on tips. The most hyper niche, barely helps you cases ever. Because for one, the types of people who were genuinely like put in a hard spot from paying tax on tips, a lot of them were not paying taxes on their tips. I'm just going to tell you now. Everyone I've ever known who received their tips in raw cash, like hand-to-hand cash, did not pay taxes on those tips and told me as such like a brag. That's already a thing. Like the idea of no taxes on tips, not going to help that many people bring home much more money. The idea of no taxes on overtime, mind you, the taxes taken out of your paycheck is like minuscule, like less than 5%. Like it's nothing, dog. It's like nothing compared to actual like income tax. Like, is he referring to income tax paid in overtime? Because how would you even categorize that? The IRS doesn't consider that. He must just be talking about like social security cut taken out of your paycheck, not counting for overtime pay. That's practically nothing. Like a monthly paycheck, you'll have like, God, from when I worked as a lifeguard, I remember getting like $50 maybe monthly would get cut off for like US social spending. It's like nothing, man. Like we're really gonna cut off like the money flow for these programs for that little saved money for Americans, and Americans are really gonna clap for crumbs that meager?
Whoever thought that was going to happen? That means every extra hour you work, your overtime pay is now 100% tax-free. You have no tax. Remember that when you go and vote. There's the Democrats.
There's no way that applies to actual income tax. There's no way. Because, like, you would have to actually track every dollar made through overtime hours. And like, the IRS would have to believe you. This could only possibly be referring to, like, what's taken out of your paycheck automatically, which is, like, nothing.
To end it. So you take home 20 or 30% more to those beautiful children or whoever the hell you're bringing it home to. Okay, I don't know who you're bringing it home to. I don't want to know. That's not my business, although it could be interesting. After so many years of politicians who sold out the working men and women of our country, we finally have a president who puts American workers first.
American workers first. Keep in mind, by the way, like, this phrase that's become so popular with Trump and MAGA, y'all realize, I've said this earlier in stream, but I must emphasize this again. America First was popularized. Actually, I think it does predate it, but it was popularized into the mainstream by the KKK. Like, it kind of died for a while. America First is a phrase used by right-wing nationalists. It kind of went to the wayside for a time, and Nick Fuentes made it popular again. But Nick Fuentes apes everything he does from David Duke and the KKK decades ago. Like decades and decades ago, because his target audience are Zoomers who don't know anything about that. So he just apes all that shit. And America First was just a KKK slogan 40 years ago. I'm not joking. Look it up. 40 years ago, America First was a KKK slogan. They are not even slightly hiding it anymore.
With us today are the front row Joes. You know, they have followed me. What are you up to? About 350 rallies, right? 350 rallies. I don't know what the hell they do. I don't know where they get their money, but they follow me a lot. We have a lot of people. They just like a tour. But they're front row Joes. They're like professionals at getting on the front row. Thank you. And there's a lot of them, too. Thank you very much. Great honor. So a short time ago, under a man named Sleepy Joe Biden. Has anyone heard of him? Has anyone
we're
heard
talking
of him?
more about Biden.
How about Barack Hussein Obama?
Boy.
He went to Jesse.
Holy shit. Can you guys tell the economy's in a rough spot right now? Can you tell that Donald Trump is in damage control mode right now? There's a few hints. There's a few very obvious hints that tell you when Donald Trump is in damage control mode. And that is when he's not talking about himself, but is instead talking about his opponents, who are not the president.
Jackson's funeral, he spoke, and it was like a political hit job. And the family of Jesse Jackson got angry as hell at him because they understand they hated each other. You know, he was there. But I loved watching that. So the family goes outside.
What is he talking about?
A short time ago, under Biden and his allies in Congress, we were dead as a doornail. We were a dead country, I'll tell you. And it looked like we weren't going to come back. Now we have the hottest country anywhere in the world. This is the hottest country anywhere in the world. Most powerful.
Blatant lie, by the way. America was the fastest growing economy on the planet when Trump took office. That is to say, under Biden. That stopped being the case very quickly after Trump took office. Jesse Jackson's funeral. Didn't, I don't know, maybe this is like right-wing misinformation or something, but didn't, like, Jesse Jackson get into severe controversy over, like, pretending to, like, administer medical aid during the assassination of, like, I think it was MLK? I've only heard bits and pieces of this. This is like a drama from like way before my time. But was any of that true, or was that just like right-wing hysteria, hate towards him or something? I don't know. I think you're thinking about Al Sharpton. I don't know. most of what I've heard about this has been from very unreliable sources, let me say. I usually hear it brought up in passing by conservatives, and I don't know if I trust what they say about it, if I'm being honest with you. They don't seem like the most reliable source. He's rarely on his back foot because of the diehard unconditional support of his sycophants, but yeah, he is right now. He clearly is in defensive mode. The only time Trump cares to bring up Hillary or Biden or whatnot when there's not an election happening is when he needs to, like, throw blame off of himself for how bad of a spot America's in.
The stock market has set 53 all-time record highs since the election, all time. And the typical American's 401k is up by almost $35,000 since I took office. And in 4 years, Joe Biden got less than $1 trillion of new investment into the United States. So think of this.
Basically, what he's saying here, without saying it, is that the already well-off, wealthiest classes in America are better now than they've ever been. What he's leaving out is the fact that the vast majority of Americans who are now living paycheck to paycheck and rent rather than own are in the worst spot they've ever been in. Not only is the idea of buying a house more out of reach than ever because of the housing market, but meanwhile, people who already own homes are seeing their houses appreciate immensely in value as the housing market inflates without having to do anything, being able to sell right now at a profit as is. All the while, everybody who is stuck in the rentoid wage cage cycle is seeing their rent increase, their wages decrease, affordability get more difficult because, like, everything is more expensive now, not just rent. Every bill is going up. Everybody's rent is going up. Prices for everything is going up. But yes, if you have your 401k sorted out, if you own a home and you're retired, pretty much, then yeah, you're in a good spot. You're in a good spot right now.
$1 trillion over a period of much less, over a period of 4 years. We got $18 trillion.
Oh, and also if you've been invested in the Dow Industrial for 40 years, then you're also in a good spot too. If not, then you're fucked.
And Jake Paul knows what that means.
There's only one thing I can show you that summarizes my thoughts on what just got said. And just... there's just one thing I could show you.
You're a genius. Look at you. Look at you. You're a
This clip is all I can say.
Pim, the world we live in stresses me out, dude.
Really? Why?
Just like never-ending, constant chaos. No, it never lets up. I hate it. It's not good.
Okay. I mean, you didn't like when the man came out of the egg, though? That was kind of nice, wasn't it?
No, that's what I'm talking about. It's exactly what I
you
mean.
didn't like that? I'm sorry.
Well, it's not. You didn't do it. It's not your fault.
Yeah. Donald Trump mentioning Jake Paul instills that exact feeling in me. The only thing I can use to get across the feeling that I'm feeling right now is that clip, and that is how I felt when Donald Trump name-dropped Jake Paul, and I remember that they're friends. Why are all of the worst people friends? I'm going to just take a wild guess and say that if Jake Paul was like 10 years older, he'd have gone to the island. Let's be real. He would be on the Epstein list in the Epstein files if he was like 10 years older. Because I think by the time Jake Paul was like Epstein Islanding age, Epstein was already locked up. Oh, God. Oh, my God. Yeah, Barron Trump hooked them up. I hate it so much, man. I hate it so much. I hate it here. I really, really hate it here, guys. Oh, man. I'm just glad I have you guys here to keep me anchored to reality and sanity when we delve into the depths, into the abyss, and it looks back at us. And I'm glad that you guys have me, because I imagine y'all feel much the same as I do. I think that's where we're going to wrap this segment, though. Clearly, Trump is in massive cope mode and is trying to distract everybody from the state of the economy and the fact that America is spending immense tax dollars on foreign war, the exact thing he promised he wouldn't do. I feel like it's pretty clear he's in full cope mode, full damage control mode, full panic mode. And that's my favorite mode to see Trump in. It's hilarious. Anyway, folks, if y'all enjoyed this segment, if you found it enjoyable, educational, or entertaining in any way, then leave a like and a comment down below. It helps the channel a lot, it's totally free, and it means a ton to me. Thank you. You can also go the extra mile to support the channel by donating, subscribing, or gifting a subscription to somebody else on the website or YouTube. Give them a badge or a blue name, if you feel so kind. And don't forget to follow my social medias linked down below. As well, I hope to see you in my fan Discord. That's the main hub of my community and fan base, and I host gaming events, call-in streams, watch parties, movie nights, and all sorts of things there, so hopefully I'll see you around. That said, thank you for watching, and have a good one.